What's it been like working with a bunch of young women and girls on the show?
You made that sound creepy.
Well, the Amara character is so interesting. Obviously, the last episode we saw, she's changed her age. That's probably a bad way to phrase it. But anyway, what's that been like for you to kind of work with these young people?
Fabulous. Jensen did an extraordinary job with her, but she's just such a sweet girl. And she had that sort of horror movie deadpan to her, which was so brilliant, because she's such a lovely, bright thing. And that fixed stare stuff was terrifying. I mean, just the Uncle Crowley concept is probably going to stick for a while, unfortunately.
How long is she going to be teenagers are terrible anyway, but this one's particularly...
You think I'm going to tell you?
I'm going to zoom in really close.
No, you don't. Just do that.
Crowley has acted so fatherly towards her. Obviously, he wants
Uncly.
an alliance, uncly. But do you think any of that is because he was not so much a father to his own kid, or is it just that he wants her, partnership?
I don't think he's thought about his own kid in a very long while. There is a sort of interestingly blurred concept between Fergus and Crowley. Is that Crowley is Crowley. Fergus was the original entity, and Fergus's kid is Gavin. So I don't think it's quite the same. But if you scratch away at Crowley, underneath Crowley is a bit of Fergus, which is why the mommy thing has become such an interesting issue. I don't know that it's that so much, as in, I think Crowley is the first person to notice what Amara is, or what she might be.
Do you think he's frightened of her? Because there's probably
I remember John Badham asking me about being frightened of Cain for the same reasons.
Right.
When the audience had no idea of what it was that Cain was at that time. And I said, I don't think Crowley's afraid of anybody. I think he's very cautious and wary, and always believes that there is never a situation that he can't control or get out of.
Okay, well, how about this? What about because in the premiere they talked about a sound coming from the cage. Do you think that maybe the one thing that Crowley might be afraid of is somebody like Lucifer coming back and
Why is Lucifer
him?
coming back?
Well, I don't know, but stuff is happening down there that must be alarming.
Yeah. What I think Crowley was alarmed by is that the peasants are revolting. In more ways than one. But I think that was the in that situation that was the alarm, is that the rumblings again. So we're back to the Abaddon situation, where there's going to be perceptions of difficulty in the old homestead.
Last season ended on quite a dramatic note with your character and Rowena, and we haven't really seen them interact yet this season. How do you think that relationship has changed?
It never goes well with witches. Changed. I think there's a lot of similarities between them in a way, which is she's very much after what she's after. But I don't think their relationship has changed yet. I mean, I don't think he's particularly forgotten what's happened to him. So we'll see. The thing is, we've always had the enemy of my enemy is my friend concepts, and we have the what are we dealing with here? So alliances come and go and are formed, and Crowley's always looking out for Crowley, and I think Rowena's always looking out for Rowena. So I think they're always going to have that problem.
Do you think Crowley has it in him to go after his own mother?
I don't know. Yeah, possibly. I don't. It depends. As long as she's useful, no. I mean, he'll kill anybody, apart from Dean, maybe.
Well, and at the end of back half of last season, kind of saw Crowley crying again. As I like to call it, he's more badass Crowley, the more back in charge.
You like the badass Crowley?
I do.
You do?
I do.
That's why we have the badass Crowley.
What was it like to get back to playing that side of him again that's not...
The cherry pie filling and the red eyes? I loved that. That was fun. With Sam, that was real fun. We were talking about this before. Funko hadn't made a doll of me, and then Misha made the doll, and it ends up as this giant thing, really funny. Now there's 5 dolls of Crowley, which is really comical. And one of them has red eyes, and I never had red eyes on the show, and I was like, why the hell would they make red eyes on a Funko doll when it doesn't actually fit? Doesn't fit the lore or anything else. I'm talking about this with Jeremy, and he said, I need a way to show that Crowley is back. He says, I think I'm going to go to the red eyes, which were protected for a very long time. But I, kept very vocal about it. And Jeremy was like, I think this is a good time to do this. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And they not only did red eyes, but red eyes that were smoking, which was like, wow. Very different than your average Crossroads demon, put it that way. I think it's fun. It's good to remind people that it's not all karaoke and football.
And the Dean and Crowley relationship was so fun to watch last season, but this season they're
It
not.
ain't over till I say it's over.
It's not quite as
It's
buddy
not
buddy
over.
as it was.
If you say so.
What
I
do
think
you
Crowley's quite happy with it.
Well,
I don't think he pays any attention to what Dean thinks about the relationship. I don't think he cares in the slightest what Dean says. I mean, constantly like, oh, please,
What are you enjoying about their dynamic this season?
Probably the same thing as you're enjoying about the dynamic in general. Not being a smart ass, but saying it's so much fun to do. It's a wonderful actor to play with. And him being irritated is tremendous fun. It's a good character. Yep.
Do you think that Crowley genuinely likes Dean?
I think he loves him. It's great.
What is it that he likes about him?
He's a fascinating human. He's a hunter. He's makes different choices than Crowley. He has loyalties that don't make any sense to Crowley whatsoever. I mean, he sort of do, and they sort of don't. But he's a sort of he's a great representation of what he is. Make sense?
Yeah.
Sam's just annoying.
What was your reaction upon seeing that there has been merchandise made of your character?
Flattered. Sort of always has, in a way. You know what I mean? Fans. Talking about this before. Talking about this next door as well. I have a huge problem with the word fan, as in fanatic, as though there's something negative in context about fanatic. I mean, Chris's whole thing with Nerdist is you're trying to turn the word on its head to have it have a different meaning, because it does mean something else. I think it takes a massive amount of courage to wear your heart on your sleeve. And, people who dress up in costumes, it's literally doing that. It's the people that were bullied for doing that and derided for doing that. And I think to call somebody a fan, as in the context of a fanatic, is disingenuous to the amazing things that these individuals do when they come together as a group and when they come together as several groups. So, family is a great word. It is a great word. Holly was just saying, it's like, yeah, it's family, SPN family. It's a group of people that treat each other extremely well, treat other people that want to be part of it extremely well. They're not exclusionist. And, these fans have come together, this family of people have come together and done extraordinary things in the name of our causes and stuff that we care about. And I'm humbled by that on a constant basis. The fan base is growing. We go to conventions, and I will ask how many people here are new. When's this your first convention? And there's thousands of people coming now who have never been, who are taking the chance to come and see what we do and join in with what we do and be a part of it. It's because this very positive movement is happening, and all these hands go up, and you see 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds putting their hands up who watched the show on Netflix, who chose the show, hunted down the show, and watched the show and are attached to it in that way. And that base is growing, that group is growing, and it's a very, very powerful thing in the television marketplace and in the movie marketplace. It's no longer just watching what's on your screen. It's seeking out what you want to watch and deciding that that's what you want to watch. And I think it's a very empowering thing. Nerdist, a lot of other groups in that way have been very influential in that. And I think real fans for word. Real fans have always operated outside the norm, and I think now the norm is looking at what we do as a fan myself and going, wow, there's something really exciting going on here. They're behaving differently than the average, I guess the average viewer would behave, I guess.